Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, and I appreciate y'all watching the stuff. Today you can tell I'm turkey hunting / deer scouting, so it's already getting hot. It's probably about 12 o'clock, but been calling some, doing a midday hunt basically, and then doing some scouting. So today we're going to talk about we're in like hill country, where it maxes out around 1,100 feet, stuff like that, pretty steep terrain in places, and we're going to talk about bluff heads or waterfall heads when you're doing your scouting. So like I say, this is post-season scouting. It's the best time to do it. It's starting to green up quick, but anyway, in these areas like this where you got hills and stuff like that, you'll find bluffs, waterfalls, and different creek drop-offs and stuff like that. Well, them's natural funnels. So when you're out scouting stuff like that, pay attention to them. They're not all the same. There's thousands of them out here, but the best, just like any funnel, the best funnel has got more habitat changes, more diversity, maybe level changes, step changes and stuff like that. Natural barriers that will funnel them to a place that you can hunt. Y'all know that most of my hunting where I'm successful at, not all of it, but most of it is the rut stuff, pre-rut and rut, and maybe a little after the main rut is the travel corridors, pinch points. Well, the best travel corridors that you can hunt is going to have multiple things, multiple changes, where it's habitat, barriers, water, well, these bluff things, like I'm going to say there's a bluff right there, okay? Well, there's also, you're looking for a place that's got different fingers that comes together in different types of terrain, different types of woods, maybe a food source, food plot, private land, or whatever, in one of the directions that deer are going to use it. And the reason they use these bluff heads and stuff, because they're not going to jump that bluff. Down there is rough terrain. Deer generally not going to use it unless they just have to. So the easier funnel is above these bluff heads or waterfall heads, and the ones that's got multiple fingers or multiple edges, different type of timber changes, hardwood, the pines, cut over, whatever, that deer love. Deer, everybody, you've heard this thousands of times, and I'm going to keep preaching every time I talk to you, edges, some kind of edges, whether it be, water, bluffs, pines, cut over, anything, houses, rivers. But anyway, stuff like that, the more things you can find to put together. And also is look out the bigger picture, things that are farther away, miles, stuff like that, because this type of terrain and these type of big woods, however you want to call them, less populated deer populations, deer, especially bucks, are going to travel more during the rut. So look at this stuff and look at it hard, and you got to have some type of sign, or that's what I'm looking for, some type of sign, whether it be directional rubs, from both sides, where a buck has come through here or whatever, and he's made a dang rub to let everybody know, or a scrape, big community scrape, stuff like that. But biggest thing is tracks and big tracks, whatever type of deer you're looking for, big buck, whatever, it's looking for them tracks, droppings and stuff, and kind of pinpoint this thing and just mark it, mark it on your Onyx, your Spartan Ford, hunt stand, whatever you're using, mark it, save it. Because when you're out here looking like in the woods, is one thing, it's better, I always like putting boots on the ground. Then you can mark it and you pay attention to your mind, maybe take a notebook, write down notes, and then when you get back to your computer, you look at your aerial maps and stuff like that and see why that track was at this bluff head or waterfall head, and kind of look at it and just add pieces of the puzzle, just another piece of the puzzle, another piece of the puzzle. Well, I'm tongue-tied today, but anyway, I'm not going to edit it out because, hey, we're not no professional camera people here. Just old country boy, just trying to help, some people with some hunting tips and tactics. But anyway, keep up with this stuff. Pieces of the puzzle. You're just learning your areas. The more you learn about your area, the easier, I don't say easier, but the more strategic you can be. That's a pretty good word. That's strategic about your hunting, and put that into your mind and use it. So anyway, we're gonna keep on going. Maybe I can show you something else, but keep all this in mind. Every kind of different terrain change. Document it, keep up with it, pay attention to it, learn it, and then learn how your deer are using it. So we'll be back. Okay, one thing to kind of think about is, you know, most of the sign that you're going to see or you're kind of looking for is a sign that was happening during the rut or when the bucks were moving more. So you're going to have to look for subtle sign and pay more attention to subtle sign, because the bucks, you know, right now stuff is greening up, so they're pretty much laying up somewhere, putting on their fat reserves and stuff like it, and getting ready for the, you know, next season. So anyway, you can kind of see in this place, this is like a creek crossing above a bluff head. There's an old track right in there. And you can see over here in this moss stuff, dimples. You see other tracks that's in this older. Pay attention to this stuff, the small detail. You know, we're looking for a big track, of course, but the smaller detail tells you, you know, I can tell, you can kind of see that floor and it's kind of gullied out right there, that over time, historically, deer have traveled through here. So it's like I say again, pay attention to the smaller stuff. Look for the, you know, unique things, you know, that other people are not going to look at, you know. You can also kind of pay that stuff right there, kind of been browsed down a little bit. When something comes by, it gives it a bite or two of it. So pay attention to these small details, and then you'll learn more. Your woodsmanship will become better, and you'll actually enjoy it more that you're seeing this stuff and learning more about the animal, you know, whether it be deer or whatever that you're pursuing, is how they're using this habitat, you know, especially historically. Because if you want to kill a buck or a big buck, or, you know, whatever goal your buck is, you got to be hunting where they're at or where they're using or where they're going. You know, there's 3 ways to do it. So, but anyway, and the big bucks are going to be where big bucks are at. And if you kill a big buck, or if you hear about a big buck, or if you see a big buck, you know, they're in there for a dang reason. You know, they just ain't flying in there for the heck of it. So they're there for a reason. So pay attention to all this stuff. Enjoying it this type of year, you know, things are blooming up, flowering up, stuff like that. You know, turkeys gobbling, whatever. And you know, it's a good time, especially if you got somebody you can do it with, you know. So, and I'm gonna try to do some scouting with some other people and stuff like that. But right now, Kathy's having getting her flower beds all ready and stuff like that while we got pretty weather, because it's been raining like crazy. But anyway, so we're gonna keep after it like it safe. You pay attention to this stuff. Pretty little creek right here above a bluff head. So. Okay, we're at a different place above a big bottom lake, but kind of show you a little bit about where a bunch of multiple edges come together and habitat changes. I'm good today. Habitat changes. You can see pines up there. You can see pretty good. You'll see 2 or 3 little old drainages coming down, and some more pines, and then another holler. You know, areas like this that come together, people call them thermal hubs and stuff like that. I call them crow's feet, you know, junctions, stuff like that. But anyway, things like this that tie into other features, you know, creek crossings, you know, bluff heads, stuff like that, are what you're looking for. Now, this don't mean that this is the dang spot to hunt. You know, it's just one to look at, because food source changes, you know, some habitat changes and stuff like that, where the doe group's at. Just, you know, and especially in the big woods stuff, is does are kind of nomadic at times, especially when you got lots of acres. And so you got to find the hot area or better area. So what we're doing is paying attention to these places, marking them. Then you can do pre-checks or spot checks right before season, or right before the initial rut or pre-rut. You know, just pop in here and do an observation set or a hunt, you know, and just check out the activity. But you just don't want to, you know, over intrude, and that's the biggest thing, is the pressure on the buck. So you're getting all these spots figured out now, then you can make out, you know, spot checks later in the season or before season when the acorns are falling, you know, or whenever the pre-rut is. Say here, well, I like Halloween, you know, Halloween everything changes to me, and so, and that goes along with a lot of places with the earlier ruts. But anyway, this is a good example of where some multiple fingers and stuff come together above a different thing, where it could be a creek crossing, you know, bluff gap, so on, you know, another set of timber changes. It don't, you know, just think outside the box a little bit on this stuff, and just, you know, like I say, more pieces of the puzzle. And X's, you know, you hear a lot of people talk about X marks the spot, you know, if you're in between everything that you can see, you know, but that's, you know, the place you're looking for. But you also got to play into the fact of the wind, you know, thermals and stuff like that. And so look into all that. And if you carry milkweed with you and stuff like that, you can kind of wind check some of this stuff. Just remember that it's going to change, you know, with temperature, you know, clouds, leaves, you know, rain and stuff like that. So you got to kind of pay attention to all that stuff and be observant while you're doing it. So anyway, we're going to keep on. Okay, this is a good example of a hard edge transition area and stuff like that. And it's also a good example of the people that don't like burns and stuff. Is you can look at this habitat. This is hard edge change. You got hardwoods basically down there, pine edge right here, and you can see up in there where they thinned and burned. You know, this has been, the thinning part was crap 10 years ago or something like that anyway. But look at how fast the habitat browse and stuff like that, the undergrowth has come up and turned green. You know, that stuff right there is so important to deer. You know, it's for browse, for fawning, you know, for keeping away from the predators. You know, thick cover. And then the turkeys, you know, turkeys like open stuff. They like stuff by sight. But a hen's got to have somewhere safe to nest. And she can pop off in there somewhere and build a nest, you know, and be safer from, you know, egg eaters and stuff like that. But they didn't burn this year. They burn it about every 3 years or something like that. You know, some people griping about the time frame and stuff like that, you know, but in general places. But I don't mind, and it has changed and helped a lot of stuff, the burning part. You know, I prefer they burn early before, you know, a lot of the stuff comes out, you know, different types of, you know, animals, the box turtles, terrapins and stuff like that, you know. You catch them out and they, you know, they're gonna get burned up. But as long as they ain't burning humongous tracks, you know, just spot burning every 3 years, keep a good system going. You know, sometimes the weather gets them, but anyway, this stuff right here is very unique and prime, you know, cover for a lot of animals, you know. And don't hate on them too bad. But this stuff, if you didn't have this and it was just growed up hardwoods and high woods, you wouldn't have any kind of understory for any kind of deer habitat, you know, or turkey nesting habitat. So anyway, this is a good place. You know, I don't see a whole lot of, you know, last season sign or anything like that, but the way this lays and stuff with these fingers and these edges is a dang good spot for hunting if you got the sign here. I mean, you just got to think about your access, you know, be able to get in here. If I was going to hunt in the evenings, I'd be down there somewhere tight to this, because there's a bunch of different little fingers here. You know, a buck pop up there in bed, you know, where the wind's coming over his back, and he got multiple options here, you know, variable. There's 8 different places right here, it looks like, that a buck could bed or deer could bed or whatever. And, you know, you just don't want to, it depends on what style of hunting you're doing. You don't want to mess them up too bad, but pay attention to these places. Like, I'm going to mark this, you know, and come back, you know, later. I wish I'd have got here before, you know, maybe in February or something like that, because it's already greened up pretty good bit. You can't see a whole lot of stuff. I don't want to get up in there and mess around with the cover too bad. I mean, you can in places, and it's going to get nasty. So don't forget about your Prometheum, because dang ticks and stuff will be coming out now. But anyway, I'm gonna keep looking at this stuff. This stuff is real neat, unique, and very important for the deer habitat. Okay, I was gonna show you a couple of like older tracks that, you know, just giving you people, or, you know, giving everybody little ideas. You know, a lot of you might already know these things, or you ain't can see them, but, you know, a lot of you can't. Are not used to seeing them. You know, younger hunters, newer hunters, stuff like that. But if you can look right here, these are doe tracks. But anyway, there's a track right there. In the pine straw. Where a deer's going, you're looking right now, it's going from right to left. Got my head in the way. There's another track. Placed it right there, right to the right of that little stick. You can tell a doe is coming through here. It's just a smaller sign that, you know, that you get used to seeing. You know, some people don't pay attention to it a whole lot, but I try to pay attention to it as much as I can, and then keep up with it. It just helps you, and just even, you know, because the does are one of the key, you know, elements in rut hunting, is knowing where they at, you know, knowing what they're using, where they're bedding, what they're feeding on, stuff like that. So just another piece of the puzzle to keep up with, and learning, spotting these tracks and stuff like that. Pay attention to which direction they're, you know, if you want to backtrack them or forward track them. So just whatever you want to do, just keep up with that. And this, I was paying attention to this, them tracks are above them fingers that I just showed you a few minutes ago. So you don't know in early December if them track would have had a big old monster track right behind it. But anyway, so we're gonna keep on looking. Haven't seen any big old rubs yet. Big rubs been hard to find this year. I don't know if it's because of the way the winter was or what. They just didn't rub as much. Seen a few smaller rubs, but it, you can look at this good habitat right here. This is prime hunting stuff right here. So anyway, we're gonna keep on walking. Let me tell y'all another good thing about controlled burns. Hey, hiding them balloons that y'all looking for. That thing got them belted up. Makes them hard for y'all to find. For everybody to find. So anyway, controlled burns, work on them balloons. So them suckers by here everywhere. I ain't no telling how many of them balloons I've seen over the last 5 years. Anyway, I'm on an old logging road. Another place to look at. Old logging roads. You know, some of the maps show some of the, you know, like the ones that go to food plots and stuff like that. But back years ago, there was all kind of logging going on, and logging roads are everywhere. So they create shelves, you know, some places bedding areas, you know, laurel thickets grow up on them flat spots and on the edges and the upper parts and the shelves and stuff like that. So kind of pay attention to them old logging roads, look at them a little bit, see if you can find any tracks, find stuff like that. You're gonna keep on walking. Just walking this old logging road hit just to, because bucks, you know, sometimes at night and stuff, they'll walk them leaf scrapes and rubs and stuff like that. So kind of checking them out and seeing what they're doing. You know, you can, sometimes there'll be prime ways for you to access a spot as old logging roads. You can get in without making a bunch of noise. You know, of course, deer in places will use them. You know, they'll probably use this one because it's on a, like a military crest, stuff like that. So you know, they can see. I dare can lay up here right here and see anybody walk down through there. So it's a pretty neat spot. We're gonna keep on looking, and boy, it's dang greening up quick. So anyway, these little old logging roads like this, kind of follow them out, see what they go, see what they access. If they jump to different places, they'll be above bluff gaps, they'll be even below bluff gaps. You know, them loggers, they made easier ways to get their trucks in and out and stuff, and it created, you know, travel corridors and stuff like that, you know, and some unique habitats. So pay attention to them things. I'm gonna show y'all a big old historical rub. This thing been rubbed for years. You know, it goes down pretty low to the ground, but I can tell, I've looked at it pretty close, that it's a big old historical rub. Bugs hit that year after year. So we don't have, not all our deer is real tall deer, but that's definitely an old historical rub going down to a point. So kind of walking, checking a different point. I'm in a different area now. I've done moved about 10 miles to a different spot, kind of looking, just doing a quick check. We got a few, done a couple of turkey calls, stuff like that. Got a little bit before 1, so anyway. That's a pretty good crow call. You know, I would think something might would answer that, or at least scared it to gobble. Get one gobble, I know it's something here, but anyway. Still checking. So, still looking. So, trying to find the next big buck. You know. This is fixing to get nasty right here, so hopefully down here. Just show y'all kind of the stuff I like. A lot of people say it's open, but it's not open. By the time November comes around, we don't have, you know, our winters get rougher. Everything dies off a lot later, so it'll be dang green. When I killed that monster buck, crap, I couldn't see. He only had about 10 yards of shooting area that I could shoot him at because it was still so green. And then that was first week of November, so. And we're already starting the pre-rut basically then, so. This is not open. I mean, you could be You know, you're about deer level right there looking. So you imagine that's what that's kind of cover a deer wants. So that's what they're looking for. And these old blowdowns, stuff like that, those old big old cedar blowdown down there, and deer could, bucks or whatever, they could bed and stuff like that. There ain't no way, there's no way you could get to them without them knowing. So always look at stuff like that. So, watch out for snakes. I don't wear, my wife gets on to me, I don't wear snake boots, but anyway. All this happened here in the lately, we had some storms, but a lot of that stuff is historical too. Whenever storms come through these areas, they kind of run the same way. You can see some older trees in there and newer trees, and that creates, you know, some crazy bedding and stuff like that. A buck could be laying over there right now, and he's probably either laying there and watching me go by, or, you know, he's already eased off, and you never know it. So 90% of the time they're not going to blow, you know, they're not going to make a bunch of noise, they're just going to slide out. That's how they live so long. So I'm going to keep on looking. So keep that stuff in mind, you know, while you're out here scouting. There's the different types of blowdowns and, you know, tornado and stuff. Tornado creates a lot of unique habitat. So, big old stump hole right there. I think pig might be laying in it. And pigs like them stump holes and stuff too. So there's a big one. Big pine blowdown. Pigs ain't found it yet. That's from a storm, so this is pretty rough. Look there. It looks like pig. It's wet and kind of old. That looks like some kind of pig droppings or something. Anyway, if it's a buck, it'll be a whopper. But this done got stirred up, so can't really tell. We're getting into steep habitat. Different fingers and stuff. So it's like another bluff thing down. Okay, y'all. I finally found a fresh buck track, which is kind of shocking and surprising, but hey, I found one. So anyway, you can see that right there. Split toe buck, you know, a little bit of weight on it. Not no monster buck. Could be 3.5 years old. No, maybe 4.5. Decent sized track. That's why you always look. Don't give up. Keep looking. See what you can find. You know, and keep up with it. You know, this is, you know, April. So, but anyway, that's a pretty good track. You know, that makes me feel better. You can even see right there that stick is. You can see it dew claw where it's going up. If you look right there close enough, you can see the spread toe, and this is flat, firm ground, so that's kind of, you know, a good sign. I don't know if it, I don't really think it was jumped up, or it would be a slide more, but it's not really a slide. But anyway, good track, a good thing to find. It's a good thing to mark. You know, you can put that on your tracking stuff and keep up with it. Just mark it as a track and keep up with it. Look at it on the map. So anyway, a good day. Boy, it's on. Now they're getting hot. Here's you a couple, a little bit older tracks. Let's see, right there below that stick. 2 tracks. This deer tracks. It's a pretty good size doe, more likely. Look like so going into that. So into the nasty stuff. This is above a bluff thing. So never been here to this spot. It's pretty kind of open right here, but this upper edge right here, they could run it. So I'm gonna walk down there and check above that bluff thing, see if I see anything. I'm gonna talk a little history right now. You know, I come up on a historical marker, or whatever you can call it. You know, a lot of the stuff that I've done when I was younger out here was trapping. You know, trapping with my dad. You can hear that water back on that creek. Maybe it won't be too loud, but anyway, done a bunch of trapping with my dad. And we was all over the place doing stuff, hitting drainage and stuff, trapping, and plus deer hunting too. But you know, some of the stuff I can't remember, because back then all a lot of the logging roads you could drive anywhere. Than whenever they created the wilderness area and stuff like that out here, they closed a bunch of stuff off. But and I've been all over this place. And anyway, I come up on this tree right here, and you can see that it's RP like 03 or 02 or something like that. Anyway, that was Ray Perry. That was my dad, and he was walking this, doing the same thing I'm doing, walking this drainage. And it was a dang different spot that I might have been here 10 years ago, I don't know. But anyway, it's pretty unique. You know, I find some of them every now and then. You know, they grow over quick. You know, that's 20 years or so old. So he used to put carved sack into them trees, and that was his nickname, was Sack, S-A-C. And I don't think you'll see any of them anymore. He quit doing that probably 20 years, I guess, since he started doing RP. It's easier to do, but probably plus 20 years ago. So anyway, it's some of the historical stuff. He's been passed away for about, I guess, 3 or 4 years now. So anyway, kind of humbling to find stuff like that. You know, you're walking some of the same stuff that he looked at and other people look at, because you'll see where people, you know, carve their names and stuff in these trees and stuff all the time. Anyway, I'm walking up some drainage. Like I say, I ain't been here, and I don't know if I've ever been this specific drainage, but I'm gonna keep on heading up. I come up from the bottom like so. Anyway, it's I ain't heard no turkeys, so, and it's 12:30, so I got about 30 more minutes. So. No more call. So this is a thick bottom. It's pretty cool, you know. Bucks will use these, deer use these. You know, sometimes they come down here at night, stuff like that, because acorns, you know, they'll drop, white oaks and stuff on these tops will drop, and they'll roll down these bottoms, and later on in the winter and stuff like that, they come down looking for them. You know, pigs will too. So, and it's also kind of thick down here. They can travel, and when the thermals are coming down, they'll use drainages, stuff like that, to access, you know, go to different places. You know, buck uses that thing nose. That's probably that's the best thing that he's got, you know, along with the seeing movement. You know, them suckers can see movement like crazy, then verify stuff with their nose, and they can pick up stuff, you know, your sense it's days, weeks old or whatever. They can, you know, pretty much tell when you've been here. So, but when them thermals are coming down in the evening and stuff like that, and sometimes early mornings, you know, and then water, you know, a lot of fast running water will pull, you know, thermals too. And then, but the sun's shining right here, so I'm assuming up on that side you're gonna have an uprise of thermals, and maybe right here in this little draw that I'm pointing that way, they could still be pulling down a little bit. You know, I've been to places at 3 o'clock. You know, they're either already going down or they're still going down. Especially in them deep canyons with that fast moving water and that cold air, you'd be surprised how far that cold air will get pulled with these deeper canyons and stuff like that, deeper bluffs, deeper waterfall areas, stuff like that. So something else to kind of think about when you're doing your scouting and trying to plan for the upcoming season and stuff is how the thermals could affect, you know, these places. So just another thing to think about. My fat butt's burning up. Anyway, probably gonna wrap this video up. You know, I've been scouting and turkey hunting. It's fixing to be 1 o'clock, so I need to kind of try to head toward the truck. I don't know exactly where I'm at. And anyway, I got my phone so I can look at the map. I didn't set my tracks, but I usually set my tracks, but I didn't. So anyway, here's a pretty good historical rub, probably last season. But anyway, it's a taller looking deer. It's a good old cedar tree rub. You know, that deer's, you know, almost chest high nearly. So he's got some longer legs, some good mature deer. So stuff like that, you know, is what we're looking for. This is kind of where some things kind of come together at. So, but anyway, appreciate y'all, you know, watching the video and stuff, and subscribe if you don't care, share, you know, if you like it, if you want to, if you're interested in me trying to look into something or do some more kind of scouting, you know, just send me a message or, you know, whatever. I try to answer everything. You know, I've talked to anybody I can. I talked to a younger guy a couple of weeks ago from Louisiana. That was pretty cool. I had a couple conversations with him, and that stuff is very unique, and you know, it makes me happy to be able to talk with people like that, share different type of hunting tactics and stuff like that, because nobody's perfect. Nobody is, you know, there's plenty of ways to kill, you know, bucks, big bucks, you know, whatever it is. You know, it's not all a specific way. Besides, you got to be wherever they're at, you know, where big bucks is at. You know, some places have got them better than others. So that's the biggest thing. But there's a lot of dang tactics, and don't be hating on, you know, people's tactics, styles, and whatever, because not everybody, we're not all the same. You know, we're all different. So anyway, so, you know, I'm just an old man that's spent a lot of years, you know, doing it the wrong way, you know. And if you haven't heard, which I've told it quite a bit, is I didn't kill my first good buck till I was 31. So you know, a lot of years of not doing it, you know, and a lot of years of shooting, you know, whatever made me happy. And if it was a spike, it was a spike, you know. So, and that's don't let people dictate what you know, what you want to shoot, because not everywhere is the same, not all states are the same and stuff like that. So, but enjoy it. That's the biggest part. I'm enjoying it out here sweating, you know, whether I'm griping or not, I'm enjoying it. So, you know, seeing different things I haven't seen. There's, you know, all kind of unique trees and stuff, and kind of wild looking at the damage from the storms and stuff that we've had this spring. So anyway, you know, appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see y'all later.